I'm Rothman here. Number one, welcome, Sam. Always good to see you, my
Thank
friend.
you. Good
Uh,
to see you guys.
Absolutely. Let's start in basketball because this is a team that had a lot of promise on the men's side,
Yeah.
and now coming a couple of games into the SEC, there's it's been a little shaky. I don't want to panic because I think that the teams that they've lost to have been good teams, obviously Arkansas,
hmm
and then most lately to defending national champion Florida Gators. What do you make of this early start here, and kind of what happened there on Saturday in that win, failing to score 70 points?
Yeah, I mean, we've really just seen two different teams with Tennessee, a team on the road and a team at home. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't lose a game at home, but I wouldn't be shocked too if they're under 500 on the road this year because they've just looked like two different teams. And then with Florida, it was just the turnovers. It's been the story kind of all season long, but it really just manifested itself with 18 of them. And this is a team, I think we've talked about it a lot. There's a lot of new faces on this team. Just one returning starter from last year, lost a lot of veteran presence. And it seems like when Tennessee gets down in a hole, everyone freaks out. No one really comes together and can figure it out. Now, that's not to say Jacoby Gillespie, he's a veteran guy, but not a veteran guy on this team. And then another thing that Sam talked a lot about yesterday in our newscast was that teams are figuring out, Jacoby had, 30 something points against Texas. So teams are like, all right, let's just shut him down. Let's see who else they have. And it seems like Tennessee can't really handle it when that star player is shut down. Now, this is a different looking Barnes team because in the years past, you've seen Zakai be point guard, and then you had a guard that was your main scorer. This year, your point guard is your main scorer. So you take Gillespie out, and this team
Yeah.
kind of just freaks out. Like, not
Yeah.
freaks out, but, just looks so different, defeated. Now, taking Gillespie out helped Nate Ament step up a little bit. He looked better against Florida, but his 17 points, you're going to need more production from him as you're putting up on the screen. Yeah, Jacoby held to 12 points. That's just not going to cut it in the SEC, and you're supposed to be, the team's go-to guy. So, yeah, I mean, it was a struggling performance, but getting right back at it tonight against Texas A&M at home, and they've looked a lot better at home. So I'm interested to see how this team bounces back because, Barnes is going to whip them into shape. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talked about how they look a lot better at home. They're undefeated at home, but it's
yeah.
when they play those road games, they have yet to win a road game. So, I mean, that's where the struggle is, and you're not going to really have any success. I find it interesting, though, that the net rankings really haven't punished them that much. I believe that they sit at 27 right now, and they're still ranked, which is
Still ranked.
I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
dropped out of the coaches poll. I don't know. I think it's hard to judge this team because they've had really dominating performances and looked good
Right.
against good teams. If you go back to that, early in Vegas beating Houston, and then they looked dominant against Texas. They've had these dominant performances. Obviously, that win against Louisville was great. I mean, but then you turn around and you have these games that they look completely different. So I think it's hard to figure this team out right now. They do have a lot of big games coming up. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, you can't just be good at home. Unfortunately, March Madness is not played on your home
Yeah.
court, so it's going to be a short run if you can't figure out how to play on the road and how to win on the road.
Is it time to panic? It seems like
No.
no, not yet. Still early.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's still early.
Okay.
I have a lot of belief in Barnes. His
Yeah.
teams always seem to peak at the right time. I feel like I've been here. This is my third season covering Tennessee basketball, and there's always been these blips where you start to freak out. It actually happened against Florida 2 years ago, was it, when they were at Florida? Or no, last year at Florida,
Uh-huh.
and they had a terrible performance. I think they were held to what? It was like a season low. I think they were held to like under 30 points in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was a bad performance. And then Florida came to Knoxville, and Tennessee destroyed the Gators, and they were down three starters. So,
Right.
again, but that just reinforces that at home, obviously, this is a rowdy environment, a great crowd at the Food City Center. But again, you got to be able to win on the road. Tonight, we're not going to really get an answer to that with Tennessee hosting Texas A&M, and then they host Kentucky this weekend, which will be a big game. But you got to win these two, right? You're at
Yeah.
home. You got to win these two. You can't have any blips, and then get back on the road and try to pick up a good road win just to get the confidence going and everything like that. Because, yeah, there are some doubters right now. I'm not one of them, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. So these 2 home games, big road games against Alabama and Georgia, 2 really good SEC teams. So that will be the test. The week of the 24th will be the test.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get your take on what lies ahead tonight here in a second. But first, to your overall point about inconsistency, Coach Rick Barnes talks about that with his squad and trying to get more consistent.
We need more consistency from our front line, probably as much as anything. And that's not just scoring. That's being where you need to be on ball screen defense, because oftentimes Jacoby's in those screens more than anybody, and he's having to work really hard on the offensive end. And then the other area is our other guards, because when other teams put our other guards in position, they're going to have to handle the ball more than maybe they're used to. Are they going to make the right decisions? Are they going to get us organized when teams are just flat out taking Jacoby out? And we've talked about that. I mean, we told him almost every game going in how the other team's going to play us based on what we know about them. And so there's a lot of little things that can be big things if we don't see it. And but that's a great question, and I don't have an answer to it right now, because when I ask them that question, what do you think their answer is? I don't know. And that's probably, I don't understand it either. For as much as we talk about it, as much as we, and I know we got a group of guys that care, but all I can tell you in the end, I tell them that if they don't fix it, is because they really don't care, because it's right there. I mean, there's no question about it, and it'll always come back to your training, your preparation, the process you go through. If you don't do it every single day and understand it, it's simple. You got to get better every day.
Coach Rick Barnes is not one to kind of coach speak a lot of things, especially when it comes to his team's effort. And I love the honesty that he speaks. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't have an answer, he'll tell you, I don't have an answer, and or we're looking for it, or we're finding it. They're trying to look for some answers tonight against Texas A&M. You'll get a first good look there at Buckyball. They're undefeated right now in conference play, riding a 6-game winning streak so far heading into this matchup. I know you talked about the inconsistencies home versus away, but tell me a little bit about this matchup, the way that you think it'll play out, given the fact that it is there in Knoxville.
Yeah, I think Tennessee comes in as a 9.5-point favorite. I think that's just because, it's interesting when you see a team that is undefeated in SEC play and one that's 1-2 and is coming off a bad loss be 9.5-point favorites. But I think that home crowd is really going to help. I also think the fact that performance against Florida just didn't cut it. Barnes said post-game that was not Tennessee basketball. That was one of the worst performances as a head coach he's seen, and he's been doing this for a long time. So that's a big statement. So I expect them to bounce back, have a lot more fire, use the crowd, hopefully clean up those turnovers, because if they don't clean it up, you're going to see that become an issue throughout the game. And it doesn't matter if you're home or away. If you're turning the ball over, you don't have the ball, you can't score. So, But I expect that to be cleaned up tonight.